Hello guys, Arctic here for part 2 of Maple Monarchy because there's another round of Canadian hype going around because of the Russian event. And I'm also seeing people bringing up the Canadians in the Reddit forums for Azur Lanes. So let's recap by showing you what Canadians can be brought into Azur Lane, even though I mentioned it in the first video. So for the Canadians, we would have a lot of DDs, 2 CLs, which is like cruisers, and maybe 3 possible battleships if it's priority research, and then a couple CVs being aircraft carriers. So that's a nice fair share of things. And if I'm to break them down, there's the A class with Saguenay and Skeena, the C class with Assiniboine, Fraser, Ottawa, Ristigouche, and Saint Laurent. And I do apologize if I do butcher these, because some of them are in French and I can't really, but yeah, you get the point. CR class being Crescent and Crusader, D class being Kootenay and Marguerite, E class being Gatineau, F class being Capel. Someone corrected me on that in my previous video, so I guess it's Capel and not Coapel. With Saskatchewan, which is, you kind of have them in the game right now as Fortune and Foxhound. Fortune and Foxhound. But they really need to have their own Canadian version. Then continuing on with the destroyer classes, we have the G class being HMCS Ottawa, H31. I'm saying it that way because we already mentioned one Ottawa. Then for the H classes being Chaudière, but I'm probably butchering that again, pardon my French. Then there's Wickus class being Annapolis, Columbia, Niagara, and St. Clair. For the Clemson class being Buxton, St. Croix, and St. Francis. Oh, the French are gonna tear me apart for this. And yeah, from what I'm seeing here, there's 2 Americans being Wickus class and Clemson, which contain, let's see, 4 and 3, so that's a nice amount. And then our favorite is the tribal class, which is the Athabascan, G07, and R79, because one of them had a nasty torpedo incident in the English Channel, or so I remember. Then you have Kaguya, Haida, which is the museum ship in Hamilton right now. Huron, Iroquois, Micmac, and Nootka. Those would be our fan favorite ones right there for the tribal class. If we do get them, we will get the tribals and A class, which is Saguenay and Skeena, but yeah. For the town class is Cadwell, Chelsea, Georgetown, Hamilton, Leamington, Mansfield, Montgomery, Richmond, Roxborough, Salisbury. And then for our light cruiser favorites is HMCS Uganda, which is also known as HMCS Quebec, and then HMCS Ontario, which came to the war a little too late, both of which were in the Pacific. So if you want to, a placeholder, you can use HMS Jamaica for Uganda and HMS Swisher for Ontario. So yeah, as you can tell already, we have quite a number of DDs, which might be trophy ships. So if I was Yostar, I would probably go with Saguenay and Skeena, Tribals and Towns. And we might get the other ones, it all depends on Yostar. Because they did tease Maple Monarchy, so that's why I'm making this video. And that's why we Canadians are here admiring our Canadian beauty. So for the next part, I'm sorry if this is kind of stiff, but I just want to make note of everything in as short time as possible. So for Atlantic Fleet, which is a game on Steam, you have a custom mode with 3 BBs in them, battleships, Queen Elizabeth class battleships for Canada, which we were supposed to get in pre-World War I, but there was a vote against it in the Parliament, so no, we couldn't. But this is a what if, so HMCS Ontario, HMCS Quebec, and HMCS Acadia. I'm probably saying that wrong again. But there's the 3 of them. If they were to go into Azur Lane, it would be amazing to see what they would do. So if you wanted to have 3 of them, you have to look for 3 Queen Elizabeth class battleships in Azur Lane for... So if you want a proxy, you can go for Queen Elizabeth, Valiant, and Warspite if you want to have a proxy like that. Next up, we have a portrait which somebody sent me on Twitter, which I find amusing for the Maple Monarchy, is HMCS Haida's portrait. She has a torpedo, her portrait's unknown. There's this 3 Canadian maple leaf and then something above it, which I can't really make out right now, probably a crown. And as we all agree, she should be super rare, which is golden. You know, that actually makes sense for the maple and the crown, because maple monarchy. But if we had to go with something else, I would expect a beaver, but this would work. It's all up to Yostar how they want to do this. If they do, just don't make me wait as a skeleton, please. So yeah, if we're going with the rarities, I would say Haida, or Haida, however you want to pronounce it, different for everybody, is golden. For HMCS Uganda, I would say she would be purple because she has the good AA stats. She did her anti-air runs in the Pacific before she did the vote sending her off to be a training ship. You know, people try to use that as a jab against Canada, but screw them. And then for Ontario, I guess she would be blue because she didn't really have any combat experience, which would go with everybody else, I guess. Like, all the destroyers would be blue, maybe except for some battle-hardened ones. Maybe that'll be Athabascan. One of them might be purple. Who knows? We'll see if we get there, which I'm sure we should. But yeah. So yeah, because of the recent Russian event, the one called Khorovod of Dawn's Rime, it spawns more Canadian pride, or Canadian hype, because it was noted that Canadians were missing even though it was focused elsewhere, which makes sense. But on a side note, HMCS Haida did a lot of escort missions to the Arctic, which is for the Russians, where she was gifted reindeer, to which it became the ship's pet. The more you know here. And then on Reddit, which I've seen people talk about a quiz of what was fired off of a ship, being like potatoes and such. The history quiz basically goes, which of the following is an effective way to attack submarines, depth charges, ramming, throwing potatoes, high angle, or E, which is not there, but throwing Coca-Cola bottles or cans. So yeah, if you didn't know, there was this posting on Reddit, which I'll show here, being HMCS Oakville sending half ill-prepared people, sailors, to the German submariners, which was quite comical and scary at the same time. Or they were also ramming them haphazardly, which didn't quite work out. And yeah, they threw Coca-Cola bottles or cans, either or, at the Germans. So yeah, when it comes to Azur Lane Reddit, I'm quite hesitant to go on there, even though I've been sharing a couple of things on there. You get downvoted to hell and back every time you mention Maple Monarchy. Some people hook on. Other people just downvote like crazy, like, no Canada's, no, please, no Maple Monarchy, the world's gonna end, Like, they're basically that kind of weird. I didn't want to go to the full effect of that but yeah. It's quite depressing, so I don't really go there that much. But I guess it takes a Canadian to talk about Canada, so I'm glad I met somebody there which we talked about it. That's where I kind of found out about the portrait, but not really. So the screenshot I'm going to show here, which I've been for a while. So yeah, the funny part is this person actually mirrored what I'd been saying for the longest time, which he basically says, I have been preaching for an edition of the RCN forever. We Canadians had a decent navy and skill and the size in World War II, which is true. So an event for them or a faction would be so nice, true. The Maple Monarchy teaming up with the Northern Parliament would make so much sense lore-wise in my opinion, which is also true there. So yeah, we had like the 3rd or 4th largest navy. The Canadians were going full crazy in World War II. They were just was going head first in like Air Force, Navy, the Army, to the point where the Germans were very fearful of them because Canadians would just give no mercy. More so in World War I, where the Germans were just flat out scared. And then the next part of this text is, I'm curious though what they would look like. Would they be similar to the Northern Parliament in terms of clothing, but with red hues compared to the blue of the Northern Parliament? Probably. I know that they would have either bluish or blackish uniforms, or if we're going about tribal destroyers, they would be their own tribal representations. For example, Haida would have her Haida cape and hat and all that sort. And then if you want to retrofit, you could probably go with a more modern look of it. and then you can choose between the skin whichever you want. As for the hues, that depends on the artist, but what we do agree on is we do not want the mini versions like the World Warships, Warship Girls, which I'll show in the screenshot. It has the Canadian flag, but it's quite disrespectful in various ways, which I avoided that game for. Plus, if you're going to add in Canada, you might as well get the light cruisers, aircraft carriers, which they haven't. It's just a weird gimmick. So for image number 2, oh, trust me, I've been in a few spats about Canadians in World War II on Reddit and such. So much anger about it for some reason or another. Honestly, you nailed the dot on the head for who I always thought would get added. Although if they did add them, I really doubt the QE class battleships would be a PR. It would be sweet if they did, but I doubt it. And the way you describe sounds pretty cool, but I predict stereotypes is the way they would be designed. Yeah, no matter where you go, like the first part there, we always get in various spats because nobody wants you to have fun. Only the Americans and British, which I'm annoyed by because of the cookie cutters, but that's for another day. Cookie cutter games, same thing over and over again, like Pokemon games. Then the second part, like he agreed with who we would add, which is HMCS Haida, her sisters, Skina. Basically the list I mentioned before. The QE battleships is a 50-50, that's up to Yoastar. As for the stereotypes, I'm sure they're going to do something stupid with a hockey stick, syrup, and all that, because that's the way Azerlane has their fun. But the way I would like it is more like a girls' frontline or this Russian seriousness, where Canadians try to fight their attrition with the sirens. They're like battling it out to the point where either the Americans, British, or Russians come helping them out, or it's based on some event. I hope it's like that. We would like a serious event like that. So in this next image, I'm just gonna respond to it. Canadians might be the last nation, which might be true, which is happening for Konkole. It might be a little too late, like it might be a case of too little too late, so that's, the USR better do it sooner than later. If HMCS Uganda isn't purple, she can at least be blue rare and get her upgrade, so that's fine. Retrofit, yeah, I'm fine with that, I agreed with it. For HMCS Ontario, I imagine she would have the same body type as Swiftsure, sure, that'd be fine. Since they are sisters, makes sense. As for these horns, I'm not too sure, I actually asked them, or her. But I'm not too sure, but I do agree that horns would be nice, a mythical, sorry. And as for the last bit, I won't go into detail, but you can probably assume what's going on there with the relationships in the world. And for this last image, which I found amusing while scrolling through the quiz thing, which I talked about earlier, is the Canadian solution: send almost naked men to the subs to scare the Germans after running over the sub with your boat because Canada, which is HMCS Oakville. Throwing Coca-Cola cans or bottles, which Stretch NFL noted in his video, but I could be wrong. And I'm certain it's Oakville and not Sackville. Also, on a Sackville note, if you want to watch a good movie, please watch Greyhound. It's on Apple or wherever you want to watch it, anywhere. But yeah, I'm happy that Canadians are actually talking more and more on the Reddit, or at least respecting Canada. We really do want a Maple Monarchy. You're seeing it on the Twitter and everywhere. I'm showing you more and more screenshots. This is the second video. And if we ever do get Canada, you'll see it in the third video. So yeah, thanks a lot, and hope to see you later. Maple Monarchy out.